Hi everyone, my name is Kara Lair. Welcome to week 3 of our Family Homelessness Information Series. I'm joined today by Amanda St. Laurent, our Director of Programs here at In From the Cold. This week, we're going to be talking about trauma-informed care and how it's an important part of the work that we do here at In From the Cold. Amanda, can you give a brief explanation of trauma-informed care?
Sure. Trauma-informed care or trauma-informed practice is really just recognizing that many of the families that we serve here at In From the Cold and really throughout the homeless serving sector have experienced severe trauma, often in early childhood. So things like physical abuse, neglect, perhaps growing up with a parent with mental health or with addiction, and all of those things impact or create toxic stress, and that really impacts people's sort of ability to move forward in life, creates a lot of chaos and a lot of stress and crisis. So it's really just a change in how we approach the work that we do with the families that we serve, and really it's changing the language from what's wrong with you to what happened to you.
Mm-hmm. A big part of trauma-informed practice is the idea of adverse childhood experiences.
Correct.
Could you give an explanation of what those are?
So ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, is really what I was just referring to. It's major events or growing up a certain way again, abuse, neglect, addiction, mental health, all of those things existent in the home that created a lot of chaos in the home. And we know that the research shows us that the higher number of ACEs in a child's life, the more likely they are to experience adverse health effects, poverty, homelessness, all of those pieces.
How does trauma-informed care affect the work that we do with children and families?
So really it's just changed the way we approach situations. So by understanding and recognizing that for a large number of our families, trauma has been a big part of their life, we really sort of try to dig a little deeper, I guess. We're not just looking at the surface. So we understand that nobody's choosing to be homeless, nobody's choosing addiction, and that these things are deeply rooted often in the experiences they had as children. Mm-hmm. So it's just creating an approach that's free of judgment, more supportive, emotionally supportive, even the physical environment in which we work. We're trying to make more trauma-informed, and that's use of paint colors, making sure that it's very culturally appropriate, culturally supportive, all of those pieces.
Mm-hmm. Could you give an example of a situation in shelter or in our housing programs where trauma-informed practice would be used?
So really trauma-informed practice is a philosophy, and it should be used in all of our practices and procedures. So from the moment somebody arrives at the shelter, they're clearly in crisis, and our approach now isn't just sort of sitting people down and asking them a bunch of questions. It's offering them a cup of coffee or something to eat, making sure that that child or all those children have maybe a stuffed toy or some other toy to play with, making sure that the family feels comfortable and supported before we go through the intake process. So that's a major shift in our thought process.
Could you explain a little bit of how it's changed our programs and procedures here at the Inn?
It's informing everything we do now. So all of the staff is going through training on what trauma-informed practice means and how to implement it. But even when I look at the Early Childhood Development Center, it was always sort of focused on the children, which is great. Mm-hmm. But I think we also recognize that if we really want to support those children, we have to learn to better support the parents as well. So starting to have conversations with parents about the impact of toxic stress and how to reduce toxic stress in their own children's lives so that we can help break that cycle.
Mm-hmm. Why is it important to be introducing trauma-informed care into social service organizations?
You know, it's not just social service organizations, but it's society in general. And I think that there's still huge misconceptions, maybe not so much in our sector, but in the external community around what homelessness is. And again, that it's caused by, laziness. People just want to sit on Alberta Works or welfare. Addiction is a choice, all of those pieces. And I think that as we really begin to learn more about what the root causes are, we will change how society perceives the families that we serve, and I think that we're making a real shift in culture in general.
If someone's interested in learning more or doing more around this type of work, how can they get involved?
There really is a ton of information online, and I think that most of the organizations within our sector have shifted their thought process over to trauma-informed practice versus the way we used to do things. So really it's as simple as volunteering maybe at a local organization, asking questions, going online, doing your own research. The Homeless Hub has tons of information. There's some really good research papers that have been done there. Even an ACEs study that was done right here in Calgary, utilizing 300 participants and what the outcomes were.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Kara.
If you are interested in finding out more, please check out our blog post, and we'll be posting a couple more videos with industry experts on this subject. So stay tuned for more information, and thanks, Amanda.
Thank you. Have a good day.